Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk. Tonight, we have a great show. We have a special guest, Coach Jermaine Johnson, the assistant coach of Memphis college basketball. And we're going to be talking about a lot college basketball and his journey. And then the second segment, we're going to bring in my dad and Jeremiah. We're going to talk about a lot of the NFL, the young NFL quarterbacks getting these huge contracts. So let's get started.
Welcome to Jasmine Pollock's First Impression Sports Talk, the fastest growing sports talk show in the country. And now, here's your host, Jasmine Pollock.
Welcome back to Jazz's First Impression Sports Talk. And to kick off the night, we're going to have Coach Jermaine Johnson, like I said before, Memphis assistant coach, and we're going to have a great conversation. He was the former assistant coach of UT Martin and Troy. So let's bring him in and we're going to have a good conversation. Hello, Coach. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for inviting me. I'm honored to be a guest on your show.
Of course, anytime. So we're going to start right into it. Give the audience a little bit of your background and how you ended up at the University of Memphis.
Oh man, that's an awesome question. I'm a native Memphian, but I got to where I am today by just grinding, by being patient, and by working extremely hard. I started out when I completed my basketball career. When I finished up, I was a student assistant to John Calipari here at the University of Memphis in his first season upon taking the job. And I did that for 2 seasons. After that, I started my own basketball training company over 20 years ago, One-on-One Basketball Incorporated. And we did after-school hoops programs, did skill clinics at night, private training, basketball birthday parties. I was contracted out to run all the Memphis Grizzlies, summer camps, and teamed up with the shoe company and One to do their national camps. That's when they were a very, very hot brand. I did that for about 3 years. And then I started coaching high school basketball just as an assistant coach. I was a freshman coach at my alma mater, Ridgeway High School here in Memphis, along with being the top assistant at my alma mater, coaching alongside my high school coach. And we won the state title in my second season, helping my high school coach. And then I went to be another assistant coach at Cordova with one of the other assistant coaches that got his head coaching job. So I got that program, help him to, lay the foundation at Cordova High School. And man, my freshman team, which I was spearheading, won the city championship. And then I received a call to be the head coach of an inner city school here in Memphis. At that time, it was a football school. I mean, they had great football tradition. They told me I wasn't going to win in basketball. And I had a dream like Martin Luther King to make sure that program was going to supersede expectations. And I turned it into a national program. We became one of the top 10 teams in the country. 36 kids I coached that was seniors, all 36 of them obtained college scholarships. I had a McDonald's All-American, a National Junior College Player of the Year, 10 Conference Division I Player of the Years that had come through my program, Olympian, USA Olympic gold medalist, and I had great success. And then I had the itch for coaching college basketball, and I was offered a GA position, which was later on in my career at 36 years old to be a GA. And so I sacrificed at Georgia Southern, slept on the floor. Now, granted, I was making $50,000 a year as a teacher, and I went to making $700 a month, having my master's paid for, sleeping on a floor just for my dream to come true. And I was there for 1 season, and then got afforded the opportunity to go to University of Tennessee Martin as an assistant. We won there. I was elevated to associate head coach, and then got another opportunity to go to Troy University to play with my backcourt mate from the University of Texas Arlington. And then, my dream job, Coach Penny Hardaway, one of my childhood heroes, mentors, gave me an opportunity to be on his staff.
That's a phenomenal story. Just listening to that story, it shows the trials and tribulations, and you're finally where you want to be. Like, I know that's an amazing thing. It's very inspiring. But My next question, what's it like being in this college atmosphere? You've been around basketball majority of your career, is all of your career actually. What is it like being in the atmosphere, coaching these very good colleges? Like, what was the atmosphere like?
I mean, here at Memphis, it's unbelievable. The fan base, I mean, it's second to none. I mean, the love that they have for this city's university, I mean, it's unparalleled. The excitement, the resources they give us. Um, we have a Nike contract. The guys eat good. We fly private, and so I mean, it's we got one of the best first class facilities in the country. I mean, one of the best. I mean, it's very very nice. And I mean, we just have we have all the resources. I'm telling you. I mean, those guys don't want for anything, and so all they have to do is have an intrinsic work ethic to go along with all the resources that's provided. So it's been
And
great.
that's very important, being a college athlete and having the resources around you. Because I know it's hard. I'm a college student. I know it's hard going to a different place away from home, and you have to fend for yourself. And it's good that these college athletes have the resources around them to be successful. And leading into the next question, how important, in what ways do you guys keep the boys focused? Like, okay, there's a lot going on. They're getting the Nike sponsorship, all of these different things. How do you guys keep them grounded and keep them focused on the prize, which is a championship, obviously, and being successful?
Great question. The biggest thing is having a relationship with them.
Hmm.
Relationships plus trust equals success. I'm a firm believer in that, and I think that brings about the connectedness that from staff to player to managers. And so, with that being said, just having that, building those meaningful relationships, cultivating those relationships so that you can have a high retention rate, and then they trust you. And I think when you have meaningful relationships, you have complete trust. That equals success, and I think that's the foundation.
It's good to have relationships, and that's what helps individuals grow, and especially having role models like yourself and other coaching coaches. It's important for young athletes to have people like that to keep them grounded and keep them focused. As I know, like I said, I'm in college, I know how it goes and different things like that. But you mentioned having that relationship with them. What other ways do you display your faith? And even through your story, listen to your story earlier, how do you display your faith, and how has your faith brought you this far to this point in your career?
Man, another awesome question, Jazz. I think the way for me, my dad, he really, I say I had a drug problem growing up because he
Mm.
drugged me to Sunday school. He drugged me to 11 o'clock a.m. worship service, and he drugged me to 3 o'clock service, and he drugged me to BTU at night. And so having a drug problem in a positive way, because I was brought up in a spiritual setting, um, it helped set the foundation, laid the foundation, a solid foundation in my beliefs and how I operate. And I think the young people that I've been able to impact, have been a byproduct of my faith. And I think too much is given, much is required, or much is expected. And I walk by faith and not by sight. I'm a firm believer in Romans 8 and 28. And so I think when you're around, solid people that have that faith, then I think it's easy. A lot of the things that I believe rubs off on the people that I'm around.
And that's very powerful. I'm a very spiritual person, and I had a foundation for myself from my parents. They set the foundation for that, even for me and my sister, to have that strong faith, because we can't go anywhere without God's guidance. We can't go anywhere without his knowledge and understanding. And it's important for even the youth, my people my age, and the athletes, to have that connection with him, so that way they can be successful, that way they can have a sense of positivity
That's right.
and spiritualness. It's very important, because like I said, you can't go anywhere without him. You can't be successful, be who you want to be, and truly know who you are if you don't know who he is.
No
So
doubt.
it's very important to have that. And coach, also with that, like being at Memphis, we talked about this before the show came on. Your expectations for the season. What is the expectations? You talked about you guys have transfer players, you have a lot of good nucleus on the team. What is your expectations for next season, and what could we look forward to from Memphis basketball?
I think our expectations, the foundation that Coach Hardaway has laid, man, has been phenomenal. And I think the trajectory is steady rising each year. This will be my third season, a part of his staff, and we've improved every year. But he have a we over me culture. I think the culture that he has, and he's steady planting. I mean, he's steady watering those seeds every single day with being tough and being able to communicate and being together. Those TCT, that acronym that he preaches every day. I think it'll rub off. The expectation is to win every day. We want to win every single day. I mean, I was taught long ago, championships are won today. And so, are we going to win in the community? Are we going to win in the classroom? Are we going to win? I think we'll win on the court because we've become creatures of habit per se.
Mm-hmm.
And the standard is the standard. And I think if we have an everyday mentality, winning every single day, then come game time, it becomes the normal. It just becomes. But the biggest thing that we want to do as a staff, we want to win their hearts, because once we win their hearts and they know we care, that's the biggest battle you got to win. Because if we win their hearts, they're going to win the war on the floor. And so each game we treat it as a masterpiece, an art form, and we just go to battle because we've already done what we needed to do in order to win.
Absolutely. It's important. As I was a former athlete. I played flag football for Warner, and I played 3 years of softball in high school. And it's important to have the coaches that you want to play for the coach. Like you want to be able to say, you know what, I don't want to just play for myself, but also for the coach and for my team. Like, and having a coach that gives you that confidence, that gives you that boost of energy is so important. And to me, I haven't had that luxury of having that. So I know the importance of having a coach that's really serious about his players and the game. Like, it's not just, I just want to win and that's it. No, I mean, I want us to win everywhere. And I can hear that definitely from your coaching staff. It's phenomenal what you guys are doing at Memphis. And I've watched Memphis basketball and I really like the team a lot. So
Thank you.
I'm starting to slowly get into college basketball, because for years, I've been like, okay, let's see what's going on with it. But now I'm really diving deep into it. So I'm definitely watching. But Coach, hopefully you stick around for the next segment. We're going to be talking about NFL, because I know you're a Titans fan. Like you said, I didn't let that go. So we'll definitely talk about that. So we wish you all the best of luck with the college basketball and with Memphis basketball. And I'm rooting for you guys, obviously. So we're going to head into the next segment. We're going to take a short break. We're going to hear from Rent the Runway, Falling from the Sky, and the Smoke Shack. And if you want to be a guest on my show, you can go to my website at jasmineonsports.com. You can catch all of my latest episodes there and my previous episodes, and just, keep up and educate yourselves on sports and just really see what I talk about a lot. So we're going to head into the break. We'll be right back for more sports talk.
Renting is everything. It's style at your doorstep, off the runway and into your closet. It's every trend you've been dying to try and every designer you've yet to discover. It's wearing it your way every time and making it count everywhere you go. It's never worrying about what to wear, because something new is always coming your way. That's why renting is everything. New styles, top designers, all for a flat monthly fee. Start your subscription at renttherunway.com.
Slow roasted over hickory fire and pulled by hand. This is the way pit pork has always been done. Pulled pork lovers, rejoice. The smoky old days are back at the Smoke Shack. From the creative team that brought you The Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
You're watching Jasmine Pollock's First Impressions Sports Talk. Be sure to join Jasmine every week for great conversation on the NBA, NFL, and a wide variety of sports topics. To see past episodes of First Impressions Sports Talk, go to YouTube and search First Impressions Sports Talk. You can connect with Jasmine on LinkedIn by searching Jasmine Pollock. And now, back to more First Impressions Sports Talk.
Welcome back to Jasmine's First Impressions Sports Talk. And the voices you just heard were from Kelly Johnson and Dion Hunter. And if you want to get voiceover work done, you can see the link below. It's the leonthomasgroup.com if you want to get involved and get more people and like I said, voiceover work done. And if you want to be a guest on my show, Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk, you can go to my website at jasmineonsports.com. You can catch all of my previous videos, and then you're going to see a lot of my latest videos that I've done. And even this one will be on the website. So let's bring in everyone. We're going to talk about the NFL's sugar tooth for giving these young quarterbacks boatloads of money. So the recent one we just saw was Kyler Murray getting that huge contract, and I will give you guys the details of that contract. So Kyler Murray, 5 years, the value $230 million, and him signing the contract, he got a signing bonus of $29 million and guaranteed $104 million. So, Dad, I'm going to start with you. Should the NFL? Well, let's start with this. Should Kyler Murray have gotten paid that much?
Well, I say, yeah. Look at the market. Right now, the quarterback's the marquee player on any football team. And if you look at it, out of all the skill positions, that would be the hardest one to fill. And if you have a talent, now's the time. If you're trying to lock these guys in long term, you're going to have to pay them because the market value of these guys are much higher than it's ever been. These quarterbacks are now getting basketball money. These contracts that basketball players are getting in baseball players. And it's because now with the new league, quarterbacks are the most protected player on the field. The league has become a very quarterback happy league. Now they want to put up big points. So your quarterbacks are going to have more longevity in this game now. So now they're throwing this money at these guys because they're lasting long. And I'll say that Tom Brady is probably revolutionizing a lot of that, because when people look at him and his longevity, they're like, well, hey, why can't anybody else? Now, the difference between him and Kyler Murray is an athletic quarterback now. And those guys, to me, are not doing as well physically because that ability is also putting him into more danger. So we'll have to watch that just from the athletic standpoint. But I think he deserves every dollar he got.
Jeremiah, do you think Kyler Murray should have gotten this big contract?
I think he should have got a max, but not that much of a max. Because to me, I think that when it comes to Mahomes, he is, of course, not Mahomes, Kyler Murray, he is, of course, a great quarterback, especially on his team. I consider him a top 10 quarterback, or maybe in that rim of a top 10.
Top 10?
But I'm not putting him a top 5 quarterback. I'm going to be totally real with you. I'm not going to put him a top 5 quarterback right now, because there's many I can put ahead of him when it comes to that top 5.
Absolutely.
And I also worry about with this new deal is his production size, because you already know when it comes to his size and how that affects him at the end of the day, and not to mention his past injuries that he has in the past. But I am going to get this last year that he had a pass because of so many injuries that was around him. Although he contributed in a big way, it was just a lot of the injuries that was around him.
The problem, I have no problem with the players getting their money. Like, I'm all for that. You know, they're putting their bodies on the line, and they're performing at a high level. Like Dad said, you're talking about the quarterback position. It's a very protected position now, and they're creating rules to protect the quarterback now. So, of course, it's a big deal. And then, of course, Cliff Kingsbury, which is the Arizona Cardinals head coach, him and Kyler go way back. So, of course, he probably was in the front office trying to get them to give him that big contract as well. So he has somebody on his side there. But when I look at Kyler Murray, right, I do think he should have gotten a max deal. But like I said, I don't think he should have gotten that much. Like, he's the third highest paid QB now behind Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. So it's like, I don't know if I would have gave him that much, because what have I seen from him? Like, if I'm looking at ever since he's been in the league, they have been above 500, above 500 team. They've made it to the playoffs, but it's like the Cardinals will start off hot, then they just fall off drastically, and then they inch their way into the playoffs. So I don't know if I would have given him that much, but I would definitely give him a max contract. Coach, what do you think now that Kyler Murray has his big contract? Do you think now that, I don't know if Coach left, but anyway, let's go to a different question. So, Dad, I'm going to go back to you. Do you think this is sending a message to Lamar? So Lamar's sitting in Baltimore. We're seeing, you know, I know he's seeing a lot that's going on with all these guys getting these big contracts. Should Baltimore give Lamar a big contract like this?
Well, I mean, if you're gonna, if Lamar's gonna be your franchise guy, you're kind of gonna have to pay him. I mean, if they're showing this appreciation to all these guys throughout the league, then you're gonna have to basically put your guy in the same market. The only problem with Lamar, where Lamar's running into right now, he's got to figure out, and yes, this has a lot to do with the team and the weapons around him as well. But Lamar Jackson is one of the greatest overall athletes that we've ever seen in the league. Now, the athletics over time, you're going to start to see that kind of dwindle, because that's just what happens with age. And when he plays at that level, what happens when these injuries start to mount, or he's not able to escape like he's normally usually escapes? And that's the difference between him and Kyler Murray. I still truly believe that Kyler Murray is a better pocket passer than he is. He just does better with getting the ball down the field. And I think Lamar needs to really focus on that part of his game, because if you look at the Michael Vick experience, when Michael Vick went to the Philadelphia Eagles, if he was that guy for his whole career, he would hold every quarterback record there is. But Lamar Jackson takes some notes from that, and you're like, hey, I don't want to be the guy that later on in my career then I start to catch fire. No, right now he needs to become that passer, and he doesn't necessarily have to be a pocket passer, but you know, I mean, look at your Brett Favre, your Aaron Rodgers, the guys who got out of the pocket and got the ball down the field. He needs to mirror whatever they're doing, or even Patrick Mahomes, to try to figure out how to better get the ball down the field. Now, I do want to say that it does also have to do with the weapons he has around him.
Yes.
You know, better tight end play, better outside receiver play. He would be good with a really dynamic slot receiver, somebody him comfortable. Just kind of like a shooter, you know, shooter hits a couple free throws, and now they're hitting their outside shots. Kind of the same thing with a quarterback who's kind of warming up, you know, get a good slot guy, start getting your timing down, then now you start hitting those shots down the field. So I think Lamar will be fast, but fine, but I think it's going to be interesting on what Baltimore does with him now that all this money is being thrown around.
And also, not to mention, he doesn't have an agent. His mom is over everything. So who knows how that could play a role in certain things of him getting a big contract. But when I look at
it will definitely.
He doesn't have an agent at all.
The negotiations, the legal language in those contracts, and the connections, it is going to cause him some problems, because you're not one of those people in the room. You're not going to get the best deal, and that's unfortunate. But unless his mom's like in line, or whoever's managing him with the rest of the agent talent, she's going to have a tough time negotiating some of this stuff, because there's a lot of things that these guys know, and a lot of knowledge that you have to do a job like that to get the best deal for your players.
I agree. And even for Kyler Murray, I believe that when we look at I think the Cardinals have a better team than the Baltimore Ravens overall, like on both sides of the ball. Like Kyler Murray has weapons everywhere. And then of course they added Hollywood Brown from Baltimore to come over there. So he has a lot of weapons. You have, D-Hop's not going to be there. Obviously we know why. He had the performance enhancing drugs situation. So he's going to be gone for six games, I believe. And that's a big blow, obviously, but they still have AJ Green. He's still a veteran. They have a lot of young guys that can catch the ball. But Kyler has a much better team than Lamar right now. And for me, if I was Baltimore, you have to build around somebody like Lamar. I know they built the offense strictly around him, but you need a solid O-line, obviously. Of course, they have a running game. And I know a lot of their running backs last season had a lot of injuries, but they need outside receivers. I'm going to be honest. I don't know who's on the outside for Baltimore. I really don't. I don't know who's on the outside for Baltimore. I know they're running backs. I know they have a great running back room. And then, of course, Lamar. But I really don't know who they have on the outside. Now, I think their defense is going to improve a lot. I think Baltimore's, as long as Lamar stays healthy, I think they're still going to be in the mix. But it's just a question of, is he going to stay healthy? Now let's head into free-for-all. This one I've been dying to talk about. Celtics want to trade Jaylen Brown away for Kevin Durant. So Jeremiah, you're shaking your head. What's going on with Boston and Brooklyn? What's going on?
Well, first of all, just as we can say that the NBA players have been real spoiled and, they just want to opt out, we got to get on the owners and plus the organizations right here, because it's a double-edged sword when it comes to this whole NBA right now. Of course, the loyalty and everything has always been a business all the way from even back then. But right now, anybody can get traded if LeBron gets on the market, if a KD gets on the market, or anything else, because loyalty just goes out the window when there's money and business in their faces. Just like with this whole thing. And I don't think that the Celtics should even think about trading Jaylen Brown.
Did you see his tweet?
Team.
You see Jaylen Brown's tweet? He said, shake my head. He's not happy.
Because it's like, I gave my all to you.
He was the best player in the finals for the Celtics. He was. Dad, what you think?
So my thing, Jeremiah touched on a very strong point. When the league decides to make these moves, these back office deals where they're trading packages, the players don't have a say so. Now, I've softened my stance on players. Oh, you need to play out your contract. You got 4 years left to play out. But if the owners can make a deal with another team, you're gone. Whether you have 4 or 5 years left or not, you could be moving based on another team picking up your contract. So I kind of side with the players on that, because if the owners can do it, why not me? So when you look at, why not the players? So also, one thing that the Celtics may have done now, if the deal doesn't happen, then they might have. The
Nets actually declined the deal.
No, initially, but they're still. I'm sure
they're still trying to pursue him.
They're still talking, but here's the problem you can run into: if this deal doesn't go through, what have you done to the Celtics locker room? Because now these guys are going to have they're going to sense there's no loyalty here. Now those guys, Jaylen Brown, he can find him a spot somewhere else based off his performance in the.
Exactly.
He's going to be able to find a spot somewhere. So now they're going to have to worry about
that. Also, who else was there too? Marcus Smart was also within that deal.
No, that's what I mean. So these guys are like, hey, you guys making these deals that didn't pan out. And my whole thing is what are you willing to give up for Kevin Durant? Because here's what people have to understand. Kevin Durant is one of our best scorers in the league history. We know that. Agreed. But Kevin Durant is still not a young guy anymore. And also with his style of play, he suffered some pretty tough injuries, with namely that Achilles. Now he's back.
He's been nicked up.
That's what I mean. Been nicked up. But now you look at it, it's like, so we're going to pay X amount of dollars. You're going to get max whatever. And you're going to basically barter the future of your team to get him in, not knowing what you're going to get, whether it's going to mesh with your situation.
And you're trading away assets. And plus,
you're trading away your nucleus. You're trading away your nucleus. Marcus Smart has one defensive player how many times?
Yeah.
He is when he comes, and then you add Brogdon. Brogdon adds depth at the point guard position. Why are you getting rid of your nucleus? Okay, so not to mention, if you were gonna do all of that, you should have traded Jason Tatum then, because Jason Tatum did not perform at what we were expecting him to perform in the finals. Jaylen Brown performed at a very high level.
Well, they're talking.
He was the one that was like, dang.
That was something brought up on some of the show that was brought up, like,
yes,
trade, because that would be more. I mean, still Kevin Durant will still be more of a higher tier player than Jason Tatum, but Tatum is in that level as far as his pay. So to me, that would be a better trade because you're switching out to a better scorer. And you still keep the defensive nucleus of your team, but Kevin Durant is not the best defender. So,
they won't be the number one defensive team if they do this trade.
Thing, but the way they'll look at it is his scoring will offset that. I do get that part.
But Dad, even if they want to use that argument, what happened in Brooklyn?
That's true.
They outscored everybody and still lost.
That's true. And
they had 3 scores.
Brooklyn was dysfunctional anyway. It's just I don't think Brooklyn ever really solidified as the team that people were thinking they were going to be.
Yes.
Because with all the weapons they had, the guys, that should have worked out pretty good. But I think a lot of the personality conflicts, the organization making moves at coach and all that, I don't think they ever got organized to really make a push with that team because they had the talent to make a run. So,
and Dad, they have the talent now. You forget they have Seth Curry.
Yes.
Ben Simmons.
Yes.
Patty Mills.
Yes.
You have a lot of guys on the team, so it's not they have good surrounding pieces. Durant just wants to run from the challenge. That's all.
This is my thing. Just how it's going to be right now is how wherever he's going to go to, and that's the lack of leadership. Even if he goes to the Celtics right now, who is the leader for that team? That's the thing that they struggled with when it came to that Golden State series. Tatum, he didn't know if he wanted
I don't think he's that leader. I don't think so. But the Boston just suffered that with Kyrie. Kyrie forced his way out of Cleveland. He wanted to be, I want to be your leader. It didn't work. So what makes you think Kevin Durant followed where Kyrie was going? So what makes you think Durant is going to be the leader in that locker room? What makes you think that?
Well, you guys both make a strong point, the leader aspect, because when I look at Kevin Durant, just like I said, I can't take nothing away from the man's talent. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the teams that he's been on, OKC being, to me, the best. People can say about Golden State, but I don't even count that because of the way that whole went down. I'm talking about the teams that he was on when he was the marquee player.
Yeah.
There were leadership issues. So he defaulted to another player. Like when he was over there with Westbrook, there was a lot of blame put on Westbrook. Then he go over to Brooklyn. Now it's supposedly his team. It's not working. So I would love to see Kevin Durant into a situation like LeBron, where they drop him where there's developing players. Yes, you might have a couple all-stars, and then he turns that team into a real threat to win the championship every year, especially in Cleveland. And yes, you can say Miami, but Miami was not a championship team before
they weren't
got there. So he completely elevated that team. So I want to see, because some people crown Kevin Durant. Now I hear some of the other shows, I don't, as the best player in the world. Now he's one of the top scorers, but best player in the world means that you're elevating the team. And when he left, if you look at it, how many rings does he have outside Golden State? Is a big deal.
How many appearances does he have outside of Golden State?
Exactly. So I think there's only one with OKC. And who did he lose to? LeBron. So now we look at it from the standpoint of, okay, is he the guy that's going to take a team to the next level? I don't know. Does he have the ability? Yes. But I think he needs to be on a team with another dominant player to be able to take that pressure away from him, because mentally, I don't think I think he has a very high basketball IQ, but I don't think he cares too much for being the guy that's telling everybody where to go, this, that, and the other. Yeah. I think he likes
because he don't want to step on anybody's shoes. That's always a thing.
Yeah.
And also, and Dad, you brought up a strong point because we talked about this before. I don't think we'll ever get that luxury of seeing Durant in a Cleveland situation. Just how the league is shaped up right now. And how all these teams are stacked like crazy. I don't think we'll ever see that with Durant.
Much money he would require. It's just too much they would have to do to get him in a small market like that. It'll be too much they would have to do.
Like him going to a Cleveland or a team like that. And now here's the thing. The Cleveland team is a very young, good team. They went didn't they go to the playoffs this year?
I believe
They
so.
were in the play-in tournament. They
So,
lost to the Nets.
They have a lot of young, talented stars. And then, of course, you still have
Atlanta.
Kevin Love and Tristan still playing at a good level. They have a young team, and they're expecting that young team to be one of the best young teams in the league. So, I mean, if he does, I don't want to see him in Cleveland because that's LeBron's, thing. But he wants to go to a place that's already stacked. That's what he wants to do.
Because he's a Robin in itself.
Yes,
I think he's a Robin.
Exactly.
Yep.
But that wraps up tonight's show. Thank you guys so much. That was a great conversation. We're going to see what's going to happen. Me personally, I hope Boston doesn't do this because they're not going to be a good team. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think they will make it as far as they think they will. But I hope they don't make this. I hope they don't make this trade because
I hope Boston makes it as is. I hope Boston makes it with the nucleus that they have.
And they developed.
Refreshing. That would be refreshing to see those young guys come up and do it. Just like Golden State did with Steph Curry, Draymond, and Clay. I would like to see Boston be that team.
Absolutely. That wraps up tonight's show. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you, Leon. Thank you, Jay. And thank you, Coach Jermaine Johnson, for taking your time and talking with me and having a conversation. Hopefully we can have him back on the show to get his thoughts on these topics. If you guys want to see more of me on YouTube, LinkedIn, what have you, you can go to my website at jasmineonsports.com. And if that's what you want to be interested in and you want to place your comments, you can come and be a guest on my show also on that site. We will see you here next Monday for more sports talk at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a good night.